Okay, we're live. There we go. Okay, there we go. Good morning, Vikrita.
Good morning, Ellie. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well today. It's your credit representative, Ellie, and myself, Vikrita, here today. We're going to do the session for about a little less than 30 minutes because we have appointments, but any general AOS questions that you have, please feel free to, get in touch with us and we'll be happy to answer them. Just please keep it in mind that if you have any DACA or AP related questions, to head on over to that group. What would you like to cover today, Ellie?
Um, One of the things that I still see a lot is
The
the
RVs?
RFE for the 40. Yeah. I know we touch that every single week, but every single week I still see the same question about, I got an RFE because I sent my 40 credits. Do I still have to send the I-864? And the answer is you do not have to send the I-864. It's either I-864 or the 40 credits. And if you have 40 credits and you got an RFE after your 40 credits, send the 40 credits back. We were just talking about it. You've had cases that have been approved. I got a case that was approved. It did take about 4 months for USCIS to pick that case back up and issue an interview. Interview was scheduled. They attended the interview and they are now approved. And that was with the 40 credits and an RFE.
Great. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, I was happy for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, if your petitioner does not make enough and you can't find the joint sponsor, and you have the 10 years and the 40 credits, you can still use them. You can still ask to be exempt on page 8 of the I-45, submit all of your EAD cards front and back, your SSA statement, and an addendum explaining that you do qualify for the 10 years and the 40 credits, and you're asking to be exempt from the traditional I-864. And obviously, you asked for that exemption on page 8 of I-485. Just please expect an RFE in error, and respond to the RFE by uploading, an explanation that you do have the 10 years and the 40 credits, your SSA statement into your USCIS online account, where clearly you'll be able to see that RFE response button.
Mhm.
And
I
then,
would recommend, I'm sorry.
no, go
I was
ahead.
going to just say, I would recommend sending, if you can see your RFE in your USCIS account, go ahead and do it that way versus sending it by paper mail. Just take care of it online.
And if you do have that IOE in your receipt number, most of the time that does indicate electronic filing, so you can, unless otherwise, unless there are other directions. Anything else you would like to touch base on today, Ellie?
I think that's the big one. Also, patience when it comes to the timelines. We don't see two timelines the same. Every single case is different, and we can have two cases, unfortunately, at the same office, and one of them is going to move faster than the other. I know a lot of times I see when there's people in the Facebook group are trying to compare timeline to see if they're going to get approved close to someone else. And unfortunately, timelines are all over the place. So please do not get discouraged if you see that your timeline does not match with someone else that lives maybe in the same place or in the same state and that has their case at the same field office as you. Please do not get discouraged if you do not have that same timeline as them because two cases are not the same.
Correct, Ellie. And I did make an inquiry on one of my cases. We have already approached a year, but unfortunately, in that service field office, they are taking closer to 2 years to process these cases.
Yeah, it can happen. I do have some, cases. We talked about, I think last week, they were approved and it took them like 2 months for them to be approved. Nothing special we did. I treat every single case the same. Every single case is special and important in my eyes. USCIS doesn't think so. USCIS will jump around and they will be, approving, sending RFE, scheduling at different places and at different paces. And it's not nothing that we did to make that case go any faster. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this one's going to take longer. And I get surprised and they're just like approved or they get interviews scheduled. So please don't get discouraged.
Okay, let's see, Ellie. We have AJ, and this is a question for you. Hi, good morning, AJ.
Good morning, AJ. Ellie, did you guys close the Facebook group? No, they're still there. Um, you can't see us, AJ. Try to do the DACA slash or DACA hyphen Dreamers Together official, and then that's one for DACA and AP, and the AOS one is AOS slash Dreamers Together official. But the Facebook groups are not closed; they're still up and running. Adrián, hola, ¿se puede pedir un segundo AP mientras se espera por uno actualmente pendiente? Sería por otro motivo y otro país. Adrián, no le recomiendo mandar otro AP si tiene que agregarle otros motivos y que le alarguen ese tiempo. Entonces, lo que tiene que hacer es, bajo su perfil en USCIS, bajo su cuenta para AP, agregue más evidencia y escriba una carta diciendo, lo había pedido por 6 meses, ahora lo estoy pidiendo por un año porque también necesito viajar a este país, pero no, no le recomiendo tener dos APs pendientes. Asking about AP, can he send in a second application if he already has one pinned in? Just write a letter, add more evidence to your USCIS account, and request more time. But as far as having two pinned in AP cases, no, they'll probably send you one back. Let's go to the next one. You want me to translate it? I'll translate it. Hi, my wife and I will be doing AOS next year. Do you guys know with how much we have to prepare for both? I'm not sure I understand the question, Julio. What do you mean? Did you understand it, Fee?
Um, no, because it could mean, what documents possibly, or how much time we need to prepare for both. So just be more specific with your question. That way we can help you.
Yes. How much money? I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities for that. Do you want to read this one?
Yeah, I had one in 1 month. Okay. One in one what? What are you specifically talking about there? Alma Flores Herrera. Hello, good morning, Alma. If I filed AOS with military PIP and it's taking longer, do I need to reapply for military PIP or no? Yes. Military PIP, definitely if your military PIP is expiring, you definitely want to reapply because PIP does protect you, especially right now. It's essential. Okay. So if you have a pending AOS case and your PIP needs to be renewed, please renew your PIP. Very, very important.
You can only renew right if their I-130 has been submitted. You
Correct.
have to have the I-130 submitted.
Take that receipt and renew your PIP.
Yes. Joe, hi. I can't find my I-94 when I did AP. I went to the website you guys provided. Can I submit my DACA renewal without it? Thank you. Yes, you can submit the DACA renewal without the I-94, but sometimes if one thing I have noticed is if you're crossing by land, not through airplane, but if you're coming by land, sometimes they don't give you that I-94. They don't put it in the system, or if they do, they don't do the passport number. They'll do the
A number.
um, A number, or I've also seen the receipt numbers. So try a different combination of numbers and hopefully it'll pull up. But if you cross through land, there's that slight probability that it's probably not in there or they typed it in differently. Now, if you cross through airplane, for the most part, I do see that I-94 goes through airplane for the most part.
All right, so approval in 1 month, but definitely any AOS case can take up to 1 year. Oh, wow, nice. Congratulations on that. Thank you for being more specific.
I think we've had cases that have been taking a little bit longer than a year.
Yes, we have.
I think their website says like 35, 36 months.
So let's talk about when someone is filing an AOS case and let's see, let's say they did have some type of arrest or fine or anything like that and they forgot to disclose it. Okay, it's very, very important. If you do your own case, you submit it and now you remember, oh my God, I had an arrest, it was expunged, you know, but I didn't disclose it. Well, you need to disclose it. You need to get the paperwork, you need to write a letter, and you need to disclose it to USCIS by uploading it to your USCIS online account. That way, if you get to your interview, the officer is aware of it and you have the paperwork to show the outcome. Now, it cannot be a letter saying that the case was expunged. And obviously it depends on what the arrest was, because some arrests, if you think, oh no, I had a DUI and I had an arrest, but I submitted my case, get an attorney. Okay, don't try to you know send them a letter or upload it into your USCIS online account and let them know, oh, I forgot I had a DUI, here's the outcome. No, unless it was lowered to something else or dismissed, get an attorney. And be careful, because if your case is dismissed, it doesn't necessarily mean that you were not guilty in USCIS's eyes. So if you remember, after you submit your case, you submitted your case to USCIS, now you remember that you have an arrest, definitely, depending on what the arrest is, contact an attorney. Or if it was dismissed, and you were not found guilty, you can always take that paperwork with you and disclose that to the officer that you did forget to mention that you were arrested, but the case was dismissed. And here is the paperwork. Now, when you're submitting paperwork, just please make sure that that paperwork, again, it can't be something saying that it was expunged or dismissed. No, they're going to want to know what it was, what the charges were, and what the outcome was, the disposition. And ideally, that disposition should have a stamp on it. When the clerk gives you a copy, they should stamp it. A certified copy. And again, depending on what that arrest was, please do not go to these interviews without an attorney, or now you realize you did have an arrest that you didn't disclose. Depending on obviously what that arrest was and the outcome, you might want to get an attorney. Do not go to your interview without an attorney. If you've had an arrest where you were found guilty and now you're scrambling to look for an attorney, just, be careful on obviously how you answer the questions. And if you forgot to disclose an arrest, just to let you know that once you get to that interview, they'll know about it. I mean, the background check is right there. They can see everything. So number one, don't hide when it comes to arrest. And number two, if it's something you were found guilty of, say if it's a DUI or something like that, and you forgot to disclose it, just go straight to an attorney before you get to that interview.
Also, what we were talking about this morning, expungements. Expungements, just because something was expunged, it doesn't mean that, oh, it never happened. No, it happened. And it's probably not there for the public eye. Probably your employer, if they're trying to do a background check, your employer will probably not find it if it was expunged. But with USCIS, it's there. Again, like you said, Fikreta, the record is there and they know. So if you have expungements, you also want to get paperwork on that expungement, okay? Expungement doesn't mean that it did not happen. It happened, and USCIS wants to know what happened and what was that final disposition, the final disposition, just like you were mentioning. You want to get paperwork to show that. And if you can't find paperwork, you're probably going to have to go to the court and get a letter from them saying, hey, either these records were destroyed, it's been more than 15, more than 20 years, and we no longer keep them. But USCIS is definitely going to want paperwork on these expungement cases as well.
Yes.
Our personal recommendation is don't do expungements. Either way, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just going to make it harder.
And one more thing, say you did submit expungement paperwork with your AOS case, okay? And they send you an RFE. Okay, read your RFE, because sometimes it'll read something upon, like it'll say, if these records are expunged, do you have secondary evidence to show the outcome? Okay. So let's just say it was expunged. Okay. Maybe you have some files sitting somewhere in your attic, go back and check. Maybe you have the outcome, the paperwork of what happened. And then you can also go to court and get a letter showing, it was expunged. And this way you can explain to them, this is the paperwork I have. The case was expunged. This is all I can get. Go back to your old attorney. They should have paperwork on the outcome as well. You have to show them what happened because they're going to want to know. You can't just show them an expungement because, they're going to RFE you for it. So find as much paperwork as you can, to find the outcome. And this way, again, depending on your RFE, it might say supply, secondary evidence of what happened. That way you can write a statement, you can supply any paperwork that you have of the outcome, and then you can also go to the court and you can get, a letter saying that it was expunged. And sometimes people, believe it or not, they have been lucky where they have gotten, they have been able to go in front of the judge and be like, listen, my case was expunged. Can we possibly get some type of documentation of the outcome? And sometimes, you may very well get something from the judge writing a letter, this case was expunged, but this was the outcome. So keep on digging, please. Don't submit just your own letters of what happened, because they're going to want,
Official. They
yes,
want official
official
paperwork.
documentation of the disposition,
Certified.
yes, of what happened to that case. Okay, so we touched base on that a little bit, Elise. I'm glad we did.
Yes.
All
When
right.
in doubt, consult an attorney. When in doubt, consult an attorney.
Yes,
Okay.
if you can't find anything, you don't know for sure if the charges were dropped or if they were lowered, just go to an attorney. Right now is not the time to be playing. Right now is not the
Um,
time to gamble, to take a chance. It's really not.
yeah. And I will have to say, as much as I hate saying this, not everybody is unfortunately going to be able to do their case on their own. Okay. When there's an AEOS case to be filed, there's a lot of things to take into consideration, and not everybody is going to have a straight shot. Not everybody's going to be able to do their case on their own. And right now, especially with this
No.
administration, you don't want to try to see, hey, am I going to run into any issues? If you think you have any issues in the back that have to be resolved, get an attorney. Okay, please, please, please do not try to save money, because it's going to cost more at the end of the day. Get a reliable attorney. We do have a list that we do recommend. You can find it here in the Facebook group. Everybody is responsible for doing checks on their attorney. Even though they are on our list, we're not responsible for anything that the attorneys file for you. So make sure that you also do your homework, research, make sure which one is best for you for your case. And again, at the end of the day, Dreamers Together is not responsible for any outcomes that these attorneys do, but we do recommend them because we have worked with them in the past. So
Yes.
again, just very careful with that. Not everybody's going to have a straight shot to their case.
Yes, and please understand that not every attorney works the same. So one thing might work for one individual and another thing might work for another individual, or this attorney might do it this way for you, but this attorney did it this way for the other individual. So really don't compare, especially online, because like I said, not all the attorneys work the same. Okay. Each case is different. So obviously the attorney is going to, work with that case. They don't just, follow all the protocols for one case. So please do not compare, if this attorney did this for me, but that attorney did that for you, because not all the attorneys work the same. And again, we have the list, but we are nowhere, liable for any, just basically, like Ali said, do your homework, do your
Yes.
research.
And I can tell you that that's the same way that our cases go. I don't have two cases the same, and what maybe work for your friend and your friend got out of here in 6 weeks may not be your case. It may take longer to prepare your
Yes.
case just because there's, different things. So again, nobody has the same timeline, the same case. We treat every case special, and every case is important. And sometimes that's why we just have to take longer on other cases, and same with attorneys. Okay. So very careful with that. Um, you want to go to the next question about Adrian? Yes. Okay, so Adrian is asking, con Dreamers Together, ¿me pueden ayudar con la solicitud AOS bajo la F4? F4 es de hermanos ciudadanos. También estoy grandfather por la I-245I. So, para esto no hace falta un poquito de información, Adrián. Primero es, ¿usted ya tiene el I-130 de parte de hermano ciudadano o apenas lo va a hacer? Si ya necesita hacer su AOS, tiene el I-245. Entonces no entiendo mucho la pregunta. Necesitamos un poco más de información. So he's asking, can Dreamers Together help him with the AOS under F4, which is siblings of citizens, and he also has the I-245I. But my question is his F4 current, ready to be for AOS, or is he just trying to do an F4 now? And he has the 245I. So we need some more information on that.
Mhm.
What do you think, Fee?
Yes, we need some more information on that because if he is covered under 245I, then he won't need consular processing even though it's through a sibling, but we need to check. We need to check the facts of his case.
Yep. So,
And obviously if his priority date is current as well.
mhm. Now, if he's just starting an I-130, and I'm gonna assume, again, I'm just assuming, but if you're like from Mexico, it's probably gonna take like 25 years for that F4 to get current. So if you're just thinking, si apenas está pensando en hacer la solicitud F4, va a tomar como unos 25 años para que le llegue su visa, le llegue una disponibilidad para visa, pero necesitamos más información para poder determinar qué parte del proceso está y qué necesita ayuda. And if we can't take your case, we're going to refer you to an attorney again. So
And always remember
there's
something.
no lead.
Yeah. Always remember something. You have that 245I and you think, oh, if I file for if my sibling files for me, it's going to be faster because I don't have to leave the States. No, we still have to wait for that priority date to become current. You just won't have to leave because you're covered under 245I.
Mm-hmm. That's your legal entry. And this was the same person was asking about AP. So just
Okay.
depends. If previous documents were submitted with last DACA renewal, disposition documents to be specific, do I need to submit them? You do not, again, with this renewal. It's only any new document after your last renewal.
Rocio, hi, I have my interview tomorrow. Any recommendations? Anything that you filed with your AOS packet, take all the originals with you, all the original marital evidence. You can also take some more marital evidence, the most recent with you. All of the originals of all the copies that were filed with your packet. You know, your I-94, your passport, the birth certificates, the translations, the marital evidence. Any recommendations, Ali?
Go over, the
The AOS
forms.
packet. Mm-hmm.
I think you covered it all.
Okay. Yeah, and if it's spouse to spouse, please sit down with your spouse and make sure he knows where you work and you know where he works and those type of questions because especially if it's marriage based, you have to obviously know some information on that. Just a few tips. Hello, Erica. Can my son ask his stepdad once he turns 21? Oh, you mean can he file AOS for his stepdad? Petition for him? He can, but we just need to be more specific. And also, what age was he when you two married?
Has to have been 18, under 18. Okay. If you just got married to your spouse and he was over 18, he cannot file a petition. Also, we have to know, does stepdad have a legal entry in order to qualify for AOS or not? If he doesn't, then it's going to have to be considered process, and that's a whole different story. So,
Okay. Joe, thank you so much for everything you guys do for us. It's really appreciated. Oh, thank you, Joe. We really appreciate you guys as well. Irene, is it okay to bring our kids to the interview? I have had a few clients do this with no issue. Obviously, it depends on the officer, so have a backup, like a babysitter or someone that's going to be prepared to take care
that
of them.
can wait.
Or
Yeah.
asks for them to step out.
I actually saw a case here that the officer was like, no, not my case, but here on the Facebook group, an officer was like, no, we have to reschedule with a no
Yeah.
case. I
So-
cannot take my kids because they're going to be jumping all over the place. So
Yeah, so I
it
mean,
varies.
so it varies. Obviously, if the kids are patient and you sit there, if not, but mostly it varies on the officer as well. Some of them won't care, some of them will. So just have a backup. If they say anything, you have someone to take care of the kids while they're at, grab them for like an hour or two while you're in that interview. You're welcome, Rocio. We do not help with hello, Jackie. We do not help with consular processing, but we have a list of attorneys on our Facebook group that do.
Yes. And I think that covers all the questions that we have today for you, Credit. So we'll be back next Wednesday, same time. Make sure you have your questions ready. go back over the live, watch it, watch past lives. There's a lot of information. We have the attorney list. If you need to schedule an appointment, you can visit us at dreamerstogether.org. Select the one that best fits your need. And we hope to see everybody or meet everybody at least in our consultations.
All right. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.